Hey, everybody. Happy Saturday. It's the weekend, so we're going to be using the Rebel deck. Welcome if you're new here. Welcome back if you're returning. Thank you so much for joining me today. And the Rebel deck is one of my all time favorites, but it's not a huge deck. So if I used it every day, we'd run out of cards. Already did that once. So let's get our topic for today. What have we got? Whatever you are thinking about, don't do it. Now is not the fucking time. You know. And here's the thing. So I feel like we become a very FOMO society, like fear of missing out, and marketing, everything plays on this. Like I've had a guy calling me about my book. God love him. He means well. It's his job. I told him, I will call you. I will call you when I'm ready. That man has called me, texted me, emailed me, and I'm like, dude, now you're on my last fucking nerve, and I don't want to do business with you. Uh, but because of that urgency, but wait, there's more. Act now. Only three left. Only available for a limited time. 25% off today only. Because why? Because that urgency sells. If we think we're going to miss out if we don't act right now, and here's the part. This is the meat that I'm getting to. When we act out of urgency, we're acting out of ego. Our spirit does not rush. When you feel that urgency, especially if it's like to send a text, to send a communication, to go ahead and buy that stuff, just right? We've got time. Reflect on it. If someone is trying to pressure you into anything, that's a good sign that you probably don't want to do that. Because if it's something that's enjoyable and good and positive and wonderful, I don't need to be pressured into it. And if I want it so bad that I'm going to act today because it's 25% off today only, if it doesn't hold enough value for me to pay full price for it, I probably don't want it that bad anyway. And it's getting to that place of calm. And it goes back to being whole, centered, and aligned in ourselves. Our value comes from within. We cannot control the things around us. The only thing we can control is ourselves. So, if you catch yourself posting on social media, texting, emailing, uh, trying to force something by manipulation, even if it's not conscious that it's a manipulative act, but trying to elicit a response from someone else, that's forcing. Stop yourself. Ask, where is this coming from? Why am I feeling this sense of urgency, or what is driving my behavior? Is this out of love? Is this beneficial? Will I feel as good about this tomorrow as I think I do today? It's the ability to pause, and it's the same as in interactions. Do not react. Reaction is where we lose our power. We stay in our power when we pause, reflect, and respond. Anytime you want to immediately act on something, stop, because that right there is our own red flag, our red flag to ourselves that we may be about to fuck some shit up. And depending on what it is, it could be pretty serious, especially if you're emotional in that moment, because our emotions are guides. They're not real logical. And a lot of times we'll react to something because our perception of it is this way. And had we taken the time to pause and reflect, we could have responded with something to clarify the situation instead of napalming it to the ground, burning it down, and then going back and going, oh, I misunderstood. How many people come back from that like, oh, it's okay. You've already done the damage. It is hard to come back from napalm. You got nothing left there, right? You're looking at a pile of ashes where something promising once stood, but your response, and I'm including myself in this, when I learned how to not be emotionally reactive, that is power. And when you respond out of emotion, whether it's because the salesman says, well, today only I can make you this deal, or it's because your friend says, are you really wearing that? That emotion, whether it's the sense of urgency, the anger, the fear, whatever it is that's driving that moment, you just threw all your power over there. When we react in emotion, because we're not in a centered, aligned state, if we have gotten just caught up in our emotions, when you can stop, ask the emotion, what are you trying to show me? I notice anxiety. What are you trying to tell me? And start evaluating. Sometimes, if you're an emotionally sensitive person, it may not even be your anxiety, because emotionally sensitive people, energy sensitive people, will pick up on the emotions of the people around them. And unless you're aware of that, you'll think it's yours and you'll start looking for a reason for it. Don't look for reasons to validate the emotion. It's there, acknowledge it. Well, hello, anxiety. Let's have some coffee. So, anxiety, what are you here to tell me? What do I need to learn? Inform me, educate me. And you may find out it's not even mine. It's not my emotion. And in that moment, just be like, this is not mine. Return to sender, not my emotion. Like I do like a like I'm flipping it off my fingers. Like I wash my hands of this. It is not mine. Um, but becoming aware of your emotions, identifying them, letting them inform you. Reflect. Take that pause. If it feels urgent, why? Okay, if the house is on fire, that's a completely different type of urgency. But when you have the feeling of urgency to react to something in that moment, whether it's the fear of missing out, the anger, uh, whatever emotion is pushing you, if it's the need to control because you fear being hurt, when you're trying to manipulate someone else's actions, because if you can control them, you won't get hurt. And that's bullshit. You can't control other people. You can only control yourself. When you come at a situation as a whole human being, aligned and in your power, you get hurt a lot less because you choose better people to hang out with. And we talked yesterday about attachment styles and how our childhood experiences shape us and how we see the world, and how so much of what we take on as I'm not good enough isn't our issue anyway. And if it is our issue, we can figure out where that behavior is coming from, what's driving that pattern, how to correct it, in studying our own attachment style. And I go into that in the Get Your Shit Together book about the attachment styles and emotions and all of those things very in depth. I touch on them here and we go deeper sometimes than others, but it's becoming aware that it really is not something that we're consciously aware of until we are. Once we know better, we do better because we start to monitor the thoughts that are just bringing us down. We start to recognize when someone's projecting, this is not my issue. You need to deal with your shit. And of course, we're not going to respond like that. No, that would be more of a reaction. We're going to acknowledge that they need to deal with their shit and then respond with something like, I'm sorry, but I don't believe that's my issue. And I'm not going to continue in a conversation while you're speaking to me like this. We can revisit it later, but I need to excuse myself. Talk about a power play? That's like boundary 101. Like, bam, take your shit over there. And when you get to that place of mastery, where when you feel the emotion and you're able to step back from it, and respond calmly in your power. And it takes practice. It takes practice. Reward yourself every time you do it well. Have compassion for yourself in those moments when you don't. It's learning, it's a process. But check yourself before you wreck yourself, because urgency is generally going to wreck us in some form because we're reacting, not responding. And that applies to all areas of life, you know. And we've covered a lot of it, just different scenarios where we get that urgency. Why are you so urgent? The soul does not rush, only the ego. And that's what people play on. When you get past the ego and you touch base with your soul on things, you're like, I don't need that. Or I'm good. When you are whole by yourself, you'll find that very few things rattle you. People can walk away and you're sad. There's a loss, there's a grief, but it's not devastating because you didn't need them, you chose them. And if they don't choose you, then you have to release that and know that that's not your person. That friendship, relationship, whatever it was, that wasn't meant to be. A lot of times, the things that we look at as devastating are actually the portal that was opening for us to become, again, more, and just a lesson on the journey. So, I try to keep it brief on Saturday because I know, we got life to go out and live on the weekend. And just keep that in mind when you have that moment of, like on a text, where let's say you're dating someone, they didn't respond, and you have that urge. Silence is power. Quit chasing. And not just people, everything. Quit chasing. When you chase shit, it runs. Elevate yourself to that level of wholeness where you attract it to you. Don't exhaust yourself. Bring it in. Bring it in. Because once you hit that energetic level, there's no need to chase. It's more like beating away too much. Like so many good opportunities you can't decide, and so many people want your attention, and you actually become kind of a hermit just because you're like, God, stop. I can't take it anymore. Which is a much better place to be than from a place of lack, need, being that black hole energy, and always feeling like you can't, like everything's just out of reach. It's because you're chasing, you're forcing, manipulating, and not a negative manipulation, just trying to fix everything out there when all you have to fix is here. And then it comes to you. And you don't even have to like verbalize it because it's in your energy. You're just emitting it like a magnet, like, bring me the good stuff. So I hope that helps. Thank you so much for joining me today, and I will talk to you soon.